What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Duran Duran. And we're up to the penultimate tune in the set list for their 1997 live performance at Pleasure Island in Florida. And wouldn't you know, the penultimate tune is Ordinary World, a track which I knew going back to the 90s when it first came out. I didn't know a whole lot about Duran relative to what I've come to know about their 80s material, but I was certainly aware of who they were as a single-digit kid in the 80s. So when they came back with A Storm, which with what I now understand is called the wedding album among fans, although literally it's just called Duran Duran, like their debut album, yeah, I was impressed by the way a group known for their 80s tracks was suddenly, top of the MTV playlist and was being played on the radio again and so on. Now, at the time, I was starting to get into punk rock and ultimately techno and other things in the mid-90s. Nevertheless, I did enjoy a couple tracks from the wedding album, notably Ordinary World and Come Undone. And as I said, I was very impressed that a group had sort of made such a striking comeback relative to what I think, as people have explained to me since I went through the Duran catalog in this audio journey that I've been on the last couple of years, the late 80s had been less kind to them in terms of music critics and, sales numbers and so on. So again, I feel like it's a very impressive achievement and landmark in their career, and this song I think is fantastic. And as people explained to me, I had a sort of misunderstanding based on something I'd read online when I did the very first reaction to this tune from the actual album, and people explained no, actually it goes back to Simon's youth, and in his I think teenage years, one of his friends died, committed suicide, I believe, and ultimately it was part of his healing process to write songs about this. And indeed, there are other songs in the Duran catalog that speak to the same experience in his attempts to come to grips with what had taken place. So it's a song with notable meaning for Simon and the band themselves. It's a song that in different renditions I found very moving. Not only do I think the album track itself is fantastic, but I reacted to an acoustic version of it, and that one moved me very deeply. I was on the verge of becoming quite emotional. So yeah, I think it's a good track no matter how you render it. I am curious to hear on this tour, which represented by this concert in particular, I understand to have been a more rock-based, heavier guitar type of configuration of a lot of their tunes. So let's hear it. This is a live performance of Ordinary World from Pleasure Island by Duran Duran in 1997. love that elegant melody. Feeling that one.
People's in the roadside tell of suffering and greed. Fear today, forgot tomorrow. Beside the news of holy war and holy relief, ours is just a little sorrow torn. She's going away. And I don't cry for yesterday. There's an ordinary world. Somehow I have to find. And as I try to make my way to the ordinary world, I will learn to survive. Every world is my world. Any world is my world. Any world is my world.
No afters. So yeah, it's funny, like the recording, it's a bootleg recording. This wasn't officially released as one of their live albums, which incidentally, I think I've gone through all the official live material, so, the remaining live material is gonna have maybe a secondary sound quality because it's not fully mastered or, touched up in the, like, production of an actual release. So yeah, it sounds like a live recording, a bootleg, if you will, but I don't think it sounds bad by any means. It just doesn't have the full mixing that you would get with a proper live release. I will say Simon, there's some moments where he clearly is feeling the lines. Overall, I don't think it's his best vocal performance of the song. I think there's a couple moments where he's slightly tonally outside the lines, if you will. Ultimately, again, I think his voice always sounds good to me, but I will admit, I think even in the acoustic rendering, and I'm trying to remember I suppose it would have been, was it the 2011 live CD? There's another actual official live performance of this where I do think he sounds a bit richer in some of the moments, but as I said, I don't think he sounds bad here. There's just a couple moments where it sounds like maybe the end of a long tour and the end of a concert specifically, there's a bit of vocal fatigue maybe. Again, I'm not by any means a notable vocal analyst, but it just sounded like a couple moments where he was struggling to get the full liquid metal character that I think speaks to a lot of his delivery. So yeah, I would say also there's a couple moments where you can hear Warren's distinct guitar playing. The solo section, there's one or two moments where it has that extra electric rock edge sound to it, so it speaks to perhaps not only Warren's guitar playing specifically, but also some of the work they were doing in the mid to late 90s. Again, Medazzaland is an album that I enjoy a great deal, and there's a bit of wickedness to some of the guitar work on that album. So, yeah, the performance, it's good. There's no real issue I have with it. It may not be the best performance of the song I've heard, but I enjoy it, and it's always nice to hear a crowd respond very positively to a song that is favored among fans. You could tell when that strummy, elegant guitar layer comes in at the beginning of the track. Many people already know what song it is, but when that part comes in, you could hear a real response from the crowd, so that's always nice as well. So yeah, a cool performance of a tune I enjoy a great deal, even if not the best rendering of it I've ever heard. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.